That is increasing the membership on the Council on Travel and Tourism. And so we could have an overview of that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Section 1 of House Bill 2037 concerns the Council on Travel and Tourism. Legislative members from the House Commerce on Agriculture and Natural Resources would be replaced by legislative members from the House Committee on Commerce, Labor, and Economic Development. Additionally, the gubernatorial appointees to the Council would be increased from 11 to 14. 6 of the gubernatorial appointees would represent the general public, and 8 would represent specific organizations who would send a list of 3 nominations to the governor. The 3 additional members added by the bill would represent the National Independent Venue Association, the Kansas Museums Association, and the Kansas Sampler Foundation. All gubernatorial appointees would serve 3-year terms. 11 voting members of the council would constitute. Section.
Okay, mine's on.
Yeah, click there.
I have one.
All right. Okay, we're back. Moving on to Section 2. Section 2 of the bill concerns the state matching grant program, which is administered by the Secretary of Commerce for the promotion of tourism. The minimum percentage of grant monies required to be allocated to public entities or 501c3 organizations would be decreased from 75% to 50%. So now 50% could go to private entities, 50% could go to the nonprofits and public entities. Under current law, no more than 20% of monies granted to public, nonprofit, or private entities can be granted to any single such entity, and this restriction would be removed by the bill. House Bill 2037 would become effective upon publication in the statute book. With that, I'd be happy to stand for any preliminary questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Kyle, have we seen this bill before?
From what I remember, a bill almost identical to this passed out of this committee last year.
Just sounds very familiar. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you very much. We have one proponent, and Rachel Willis with the Kansas Department of Commerce. Welcome to committee.
Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Rachel Willis, Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Commerce. Yes, if you have been on a Commerce Committee in the House or the Senate, you have seen this bill a few times now. This is one of the first bills that I got the pleasure of working on once I came to Commerce, and it's just more of a technical bill than anything, and there's not necessarily the urgency that we've seen around other bills that we work on, and so it seems to always get lost in the shuffle at the end of the session. So we're back. We're hoping that the third time is a charm, and here we go. So the reviser obviously did an excellent job describing the bill. We just want to add 3 new members to the Governor's Council on Travel and Tourism. It's important to remember that this council is just advisory, right? So they don't necessarily have any authority over the Division of Tourism. They're just helpful as we look at making different changes and thinking about the industry and new ways that the Division of Tourism can support them. So those 3 new folks would come from the National Independent Venue Association, the Kansas Museum Association, and the Kansas Sampler Foundation. The other significant change that the bill does is that it does adjust the percentages for one of our particular grants. This is the attraction development grant. And by changing this percentage to 50-50, it just better aligns with the grant applications that we're receiving. That way that we can ensure that the money's going to those best projects within those two different designees within the statute. So I'm happy to stand for any questions.
Thank you. Questions? Senator Tyson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Rachel. So how much grant money are we talking about?
Last year, we provided a total of $901. Yeah, $901,000 in grants. 901, right.
So could you give us an example or scenario of the disbursement change on the percentage? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sorry. So yes, in 2024, and these numbers are at the bottom of page 1 in my testimony. So in 2024, there were 30 nonprofits, which represented about 43%, and 40 for-profits, which represented 57%, applied for those grants. And again, we were able to provide a total of $901,000 in grant funding for those 27 projects across the state.
Any other questions? Yes. Where?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a comment. I have actually been on this council for 7 years now, and I think it really would be an enhancement to the council to have most of the big stakeholders in this industry involved in the council. Right now, sometimes we get reports, sometimes we don't, and it would be nice if all the big guys, so to speak, were involved.
Any other questions or comments? Yes, Senator Reichman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I see this as a House bill, and I presume this has not passed through the House this year. Is that correct?
Senator, it has. It was placed on the consent calendar and passed out of the House. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, thank you very much, Rachel. We appreciate you being here today. That was the only thing that was on the agenda today, but I would like to announce that tomorrow we're going to hear the budget for the Commerce Committee. And that is important because on the 11th, we have to report it out to the Ways and Means Committee. So, yes, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Could we get a copy of that in advance?
Of the budget, we probably would have to ask for it, but we could probably get it. I don't know when we can get it, but yeah, we're going to request that right after this meeting. Okay. And there'll be no meeting tomorrow. Friday. Tomorrow is Thursday. And then the March 11th is our report out to them. And I think the 17th is the last day that we will be working bills. So we've got a lot of work to do between now and the 17th of March. Is there anything else before the committee today? Yeah, we will have it. And we will have an agenda for next week. I think we've got 2 bills right now we can work, and we got, I think, several more that have been sent over to us. So with that, any other questions or comments? We are adjourned. Thank you.